Hello, welcome to This Is Me Speak Your Truth podcast. I'm your host, Tracy, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Alexis today. On this podcast, it's pretty much anything goes. This is Speak Your Truth. So let's see what comes up in today's conversation. Alexis, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to chat with you. It's been like a week and a half, 2 weeks in the making of like figuring out when to schedule this. So I'm super pumped to chat with you. Um, because I don't even know you that well, or viewers don't know you, tell me like a bit about your background, where you're from, where you're living, if you have moved somewhere else, just to get to know you a bit.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me first and foremost. I'm super excited for this.
Awesome.
So a little bit of background. I hail from New England, born and raised my entire life. Currently reside in New Hampshire, but most likely moving to Maine in the next couple of weeks. Um, Background, a little bit more about me. I've been in the health and fitness space for quite some time, probably about give or take 8 to 10 years now. Um, and health and fitness has just kind of been my true passion for a really long time. And that really came to the forefront over the last 5 plus years when I had actually been diagnosed with blood cancer. Went through cancer treatment, really figured out that this was my true passion. And that's kind of when I started to get my feet wet, get into coaching, and has that's pretty much led me to where I am today. It was very wishy-washy, half in, half out until probably the last 6 months. And
Okay.
now I've just thrown myself into it. So, and
Amazing.
here we
Love
are.
that. There we go. And so like 8, 10 years ago, like what sort of made you like want to get into fitness and nutrition or start going down that path?
Yeah. So I studied nutrition in college. I went to a little school called Keene State College in New Hampshire and played collegiate rugby. And I really just fell in love with training and getting strong and feeling the best that I possibly could, and found a direct way with that through nutrition, especially. And that's where I really just started to fall in love with it. I learned from a few exercise physiology friends, and that's where I ended up getting my personal training certification right after college. And that's what pushed me to kind of get into this whole field.
Amazing. And then, excuse me, so like with rugby, like was that something you did from childhood or were like into sports and athlete your whole life, or was that like something that started later on for you?
So rugby, absolutely not. I had never, it's called a pitch, a rugby pitch when you step on the field. Um, and I had never played a day in my life before until I joined in college, but it's always something I had been somewhat interested in. I had always been an athlete my entire life, just kind of average, played softball, ran track and field, tried lacrosse, was terrible at it. And then once I found rugby, I really figured out what I had been meant to do sports wise. And I actually still play to this day. Although I'm getting to the end of probably close to retiring, my body is not the same as it used to be I was in college in 2018, and
Yeah.
injuries are brutal.
I was gonna say like seeing rugby, I'm like, I'm terrified of it. I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it because I'm like, it just looks like the contact. I'm like, no, I'm good.
It's a little scary, a little sketchy at first. Even playing almost 10 years down the road now, I still get nervous before games all
Okay.
the time. So it's normal.
And was it more so like someone like you were like watching rugby, or did someone invite you to come out to a practice? Or
So I had seen a friend playing at a different university, and they were like, "Go try it. Like, go give it a shot at your college. You don't need any experience. Rugby is not common. At least when I first started, it was not a common thing at all. You don't see it in elementary, middle school, high school, anything like that around here until recently. So they were like, just go try out, and I had some interest in it, and that's just what pushed me to do it. So
that's awesome. Okay.
yeah.
And then so you mentioned like a few years in you had nutrition, working out, and then what was kind of going on for you like if you're open to talking about it because you mentioned it, like how did you know there was something not right with your health or there was something going on that you needed to like make a change to with once you had that diagnosis?
Yeah, great question. So, didn't honestly have many signs or symptoms. The only two that I can kind of remember to this day that really stuck out were number one, night sweats, incredibly heavy night sweats, like every single night for months on end. And then number two was just a bump actually on my forearm where this tattoo is.
Hmm.
So, I had gotten the tattoo previously to finding it, and something just didn't seem right. It was a little off, and it just kind of kept getting bigger, and the night sweats kept getting worse. And took about 3 full months to get a diagnosis, and every step of the way, I had no idea that that's what it was because when you're 22, 23, 24 years old, nobody expects to be told, hey, you have cancer. And every doctor was like, no, you're too young to have it. You're too young to have it. You're too young to have it. Every single one. So when I finally got that diagnosis, that was the rug removed right from under your feet completely, and my life came to a screeching halt.
For sure.
So, um, throughout that process too, I kind of definitely took my health for granted, and that's where I ballooned up to my heaviest weight I had ever been. Got up to about 180 to 185 pounds. Used all of the medications as an excuse to why I was gaining weight, when in reality I was carb queen galore and ate everything in sight. Gained all that weight, and then fast forward to kind of here we are today, and now I'm almost 50 pounds down, but
Good for
it,
you.
it came a long, it took a very long time to get to where I am. So
Yeah, and you probably had a better like even starting foundation because of the knowledge you did have of like knowing what you do need to do to like get rid of that fat and be healthier too. But
yeah,
yeah, like I don't even, I was gonna say, I don't even know like how they diagnose that like too, right? Like, oh, sorry
it
that you
was
had to go
a,
through that.
yeah, it was a little complicated of a process, basically just through a biopsy, but numerous scans. Most of my blood markers looked totally normal too, which is
Hmm.
typically not the case when you get diagnosed with cancer. So I was definitely an anomaly, you could
Yeah,
say.
making the doctors have to think and do work.
Literally every step of the way, even when I was diagnosed, the type of cancer that I actually had was incredibly rare, and they don't usually see it in women. So, like every step of the way, it was like, well, we don't usually see that. It doesn't usually look like
Mm.
this. So to this day, it's like I have no idea how it happened or how I got it. So,
Crazy. Well, I'm glad you're like healthy now, and
me too.
yeah, it's amazing. And so when you're saying so like now you've stepped into it more full time, like were you doing a different type of job or have you always like worked like have you worked in gyms or like what did you do to start that nutrition coaching like business for yourself?
So I started at a mental health center, and that's what pushed me to get my personal training certification. I was basically a nutrition slash health coach there, with my degree in nutrition, and then got the personal training certification. Realized very quickly that was not the type of population that I wanted to work with. Just wasn't my thing. I felt like I was just fighting a constant uphill battle. Not to say anything bad about that field at all. It's just, it's a very high burnout rate in that type of field. Fast forward, I got a part-time job at a local gym, and I was doing both at the same time in tandem. And when I was doing the in-person training, that's where I realized, like, oh my gosh, this is really what I'm supposed to be doing. COVID happened, got cancer a couple months before COVID,
Oh,
everything got shut down. And then I'm at my current job today, where I work for an online fitness and nutrition coaching company as I build up my business and Powered Wellness on the side. So working two jobs again, but here we
yeah.
are.
That's the thing like I find with like talking to so many people now with like entrepreneur businesses, right? Like you just kind of like figure it out as you go and then yeah, like we somehow manage time management and having like multiple jobs and tasks and like balancing it. Like what have you done having like two jobs and now you're saying like you might need to move? Like what has worked for you or what have you been doing to help with that time management?
So before I actually joined our Container Alchemist Academy, my time management was non-existent. I had no rhythm, no flow whatsoever, and I could never figure out why I couldn't get anything done. Started time blocking as per Nick Comodina and everything that he teaches in this container, and my life has completely changed. So I time block out everything to a T, even down to when I eat, when I get ready for bed, when I wake up in the morning. Rugby is going to be an interesting one, squeezing that in because I joined this container after the season had already ended. So my cup's going to be pretty full, but we're going to figure it out as we go, honestly.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you like can being able to see that like week picture your schedule where you can be like, oh, actually I can pull this piece out to yeah, like fit in your rugby or I'm like instead of this much time I can do like 15 minutes instead of an hour or like finding ways to get more efficient by having that time block.
Yes, yep. And we just became full-time caregivers for my wife's godfather as well. So we're now taking
Oh,
care of a 64-year-old man. Both of us are working jobs, and it just goes to show like you have to stick with a schedule. You got to time block it out. But at the same time, when stuff doesn't go right, it's okay. I've had to learn very quickly. Sometimes SHIT just goes completely sideways, and you just got to go with the flow at this point. So,
yeah, and I think I find too, like just with our group and stuff too, is um when you start to grow and evolve and change, it's like the universe says, okay, what else can I throw at you to see if you can deal with this? Or are you going to go back into the old version of yourself? Or if like you've declared this new identity and it's like, okay, are you gonna keep going this way? Are you gonna step back? And it's like, I'm just going to keep throwing little bits to test you and push you even further. Like, I don't know if you felt that.
Constantly lately. We've been for sure through so much over the last couple of months, a lot of personal stuff going on. And every step of the way, I have wanted to go back into that source of comfort and just run and hide and be like, I don't want to do any of this. I'm done. Old identity continuing to creep in, and I just have to keep pushing forward. You got to take one step at a time, and you just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable constantly.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge identity shift for me of not running back to that source of comfort constantly. Still continuing to work at it, and it's something that'll obviously continue to happen the rest of our lives, but just going with the flow at this point is
Right?
all I
Sometimes
can
you just
do
have to wing it. You're like, I'm just going to try this and see if it sticks or like see where it goes.
every single
Uh,
day of my life.
yeah. And so like you're saying like where you're living now, like what do you have like a support group or like supportive people in your like life that do support what you're doing, or have you experienced resistance or from people second guessing or questioning you going from like the safe job or career job to doing this?
So I will say I'm pretty sure I'm the first entrepreneur in my family on both sides. As far as I know, I don't think anyone's ever done kind of the thing that I've done where you've gone off and done your own thing. I wouldn't call it resistance, but definitely a lot of questioning, like parents being like, "Are you sure this is okay?" Friends being like, is this the right thing to do? You're leaving that like that 9 to 5 income at some point, still getting that, but eventually my goal is to obviously leave that and move into my business full time. But I wouldn't really call it resistance. I would just say little bit of pushback, I guess. But coming from everybody around my life who's never been an entrepreneur, it's something very new to my circle. So, but that has also been met with a ton of support and reassurance and guidance, and most especially from my wife, who has been, and I know it's like everybody says it like their partner is their biggest supporter. My wife has truly been my absolute rock and my biggest supporter through all of this, while also being full-time caregivers for a 64-year-old. So,
Wow, good for you guys. Like, but that's the thing is like knowing like your energy level one day where you're like, yeah, I'm at 100, I got this, like kind of like tagging off, right? Or if you're like, man, my cup is like overflowing and I need like you to do this, and it's like that give and take, right? And to have that in a partner is amazing that you found that.
it absolutely is, and it's taken a long time. We're completely different people than when we met 4 years ago, which funny enough, today is actually 4 years officially since we've been together and
Oh,
about
congrats.
6 months married. So
Oh,
the marriage has been nothing short of literally nothing we expected, and that's
yeah.
okay. That's how life is. But it's been an incredible transformation between the two of us to just continue to figure out what we want to do in life and just be each other's biggest supporters. So it's been incredible.
Yeah, and to have that communication of like building stuff together instead of being like, here's my bucket of stuff I want to do, and here's my goals, and I'm just gonna like hand you this and expect you to do this stuff with me. Or it's like, what are we building in that bucket together where it's like cohesive instead of like these two different things. I think that's huge too, where like she knows the direction you're going, and then you know what she's wanting and working together as a team, right?
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, communication is one of the most important things you can possibly have in a relationship and having that strong foundation. And our communication has only gotten better with each new day. And we figure out pretty quickly where we're at. Like, is today a really tough day? All right. Like, this is what this our person needs, or this is what they don't need. How can we help extra support them, or do they need space? And even just a year to 2 years ago, that would not have been the case. So I think becoming a business owner has honestly made the communication so much better, which I did not expect about owning a business. I thought it would have made it harder, but it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I think because it's also like you're saying, like that shared thing, like commonality together, where like she may not be directly like in your business, but can provide that outside or like things you may have not have thought about, or give some different ideas and opinions that could help with your business too.
Absolutely, all the time. I'm constantly asking her, like, what does she think of this post? Or what does she think of this story that I'm about to put up? Or what did she think of the sales call that she listened in on, like from across the room, not actually listened in, but
Yeah.
just kind of there in the background and just hearing another perspective because sometimes you can get so much tunnel vision going into it that you're like, this is exactly what I need. And then if you zoom out or ask other people around you, they're like, maybe you should tweak this a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's good to have that perspective for sure.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. And just like you said, like their input, but also to see like your growth and change of like who you're becoming, where you're like, yeah, I'm not just going to stay stagnant doing this. Like, I want more out of life, right? Where, yeah, we just get taught this narrative or story of like you're saying, like the 9 to 5 job and like get married or like have kids, go to university and college. And you're like, that doesn't have to be the way. And you can see these so many people now without like certifications, degrees, all these things that are now, yeah, making multi-million-dollar businesses because they've like self-taught themselves through courses online and doing all these things that it's like you don't have to follow the narrative that we've been taught for so many years.
It's absolutely crazy. In the United States, it's literally like you're pushed right from high school to go into college. And I do right now what I am doing without having that degree? Probably. I don't consider it a regret. Maybe the $90,000 in debt that I have from student loans, but it is crazy how everyone is just pushed into this narrative, and there's so much more out there than just your 9 to 5, than just your college, than just to get married and settle down immediately. I mean, I'm 30, my wife is 32, and we haven't had kids yet, and it's in the future, it's in the near future, but it's just not in the cards right now, and that's okay. And it's
Yeah.
learning that give and take, and that it's okay to build our future together, and it's going to look a lot different from your typical 9 to 5er or like people you went to high school with. Like half
Yeah.
of them that I went to high school with already have kids, already have a house, already have done all of these things, and ours just looks different, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
I've had to learn that it's okay to accept that, and our life is going to just look very different from the average person.
Yeah,
So
like and as it should. Like I was saying to someone else earlier today, like yeah, like comparison or trying to be like everybody else, like the world would be so boring if we were all the same person. Like we're meant to have these individual characteristics and traits, like to be different instead of trying to be like someone else, right? But I think in business and what you see online, it's like, well, I want to have what they have, or why is my business not where it's at with this person? Like, how did they do it? And you have this back and forth, but yeah, everyone's story is going to like be told in a different way of like, yeah, someone maybe have been super successful in 6 months, but you're like, you don't know what all crap they went on for like 10 years prior to that because they may not have shared it, right? Like, so yeah.
absolutely. I still to this day find myself doing that, comparing myself to other people. And with the group that we're in, Alchemist Academy, it's like one of the first core foundations you learn is like you have to stop comparing yourself to other people. And I'm 4 months into the program and I still find myself doing it every once in a while. Like, oh, I've been doing this for a couple of years, but realistically speaking, I've only actually been doing it full 100% in for maybe 6 months. And it's going to take time, and everybody's timeline is completely different. Like you said, some people will just pick it up really quick. I am not one of those people, and that's okay. I knew nothing about business or owning a business or being an entrepreneur going into this at all. So I am building from the ground up, ground zero, and it's been the hardest journey I've ever taken in my entire life, but I honestly wouldn't change it for a thing. So,
Yeah. I feel you on that too, where it's like, yeah, like I started my coaching business like started it 3 years ago, right? But same as you, where I'm like, but how much like effort and energy was I putting into it? And did I have the right direction? And I'm like looking back and reflecting on it, I'm like, no, like the last 4 months has had the biggest personal growth, the biggest business growth, but it's like you had to go through that. And yeah, like you have to learn and build those skills, and it does take time. And then yeah, it's hard when you see people like their wins and you're like, well, how did they do that? Or what did they do? And you're like, okay, like tone it down. Like you'll get
yep,
there, but it's like you might not be ready. Like Nick says, like you may not be ready to like steward that thing yet. Like you're not gonna get like 10 clients right away because you still haven't built foundations in this area, or you don't even know how to do this yet, and you're like asking for all these things, right?
yep, absolutely. And it also just kind of goes to show like it's never too late and it's okay to build as you go. Like I am literally building out still some of my back end systems as I'm getting new clients in and building. Like I'm 1, 2, 3 weeks ahead of them and I'm just learning with them, and that's all a part of the process, and it's just gonna take time.
Yeah, but it's like, and then
So
once you have those systems and those things in place, like it's like you don't have to like rebuild them. You can just
exactly.
adjust them or tweak them when you need it. But it's almost, I think, is better like the way you're doing it too. Is yeah, like build it as you go, and then
Yep.
your system's in place instead of being like, I have to get this whole thing done, and you're like, that's good. Like you just need to start now. Like I think that's my biggest advice to you, or if you want to give some advice to you on entrepreneurship, it's like just start. Like it's not going to be perfect. Like it's going to be a lot of trial and error. You're going to have emotional breakdowns. You're going to cry. Like there's going
A
to be
lot.
every emotional roller coaster, but it's like entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. Like,
It is, and it's always going to be. And I have probably cried more in the last 4 months than I have in like years combined, but
same.
it's also very freeing to finally start to be the person that you want to be, to like actually uncover that identity. And I mean, just in the last couple of weeks, I've finally started posting like my personal opinion on things. You open yourself up obviously to a lot of hate, a lot of keyboard warriors, a lot of people who are
Yep.
going to say god awful things about you, but it just goes to show that you're doing the right thing. So it's been a huge identity shift for me, just learning to figure out what my voice is and talking more about what I believe in. And it's okay to have opposing views, and you can have these conversations. You don't have to hate each other. So
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is like polarity is important because then people know what you stand for and what you don't. And that's how you're going to build like your community and the tribe of people that want to work with you, right? Because you're not there to please everybody. And I'm like, I remember when I got my first hate comment and I was like so emotional. I was like, oh my gosh, this person said this. And now I'm like, when I get those comments, I laugh because I'm like, who took the time out of their day to sit here and write me a novel in the chat comment section? And then it's
oh my
like,
God.
yeah, like I'm like, I don't even worry about that. Now it's comical where I'm like, what am I gonna get on? Like it's almost like a fun game of being like, what are they gonna say about me today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost constant now. Anytime I post an opinionated piece, and sometimes even not, like a couple of weeks ago, I had posted about an avocado and like what I was supposed to do with it. It was one of those giant ones. And someone made some comment about how I looked like an old moldy potato, and I was like, where did you get old moldy potato from an avocado? But like it just goes to show like nobody doing better than you is ever going to take the time to make fun of you or bring you down. They're only going to pull you up. So all
I
you
love
can do
that.
is just truly sit there and laugh because it doesn't mean anything. It's
Yeah.
not gonna hurt you. If it does hurt you, then clearly you have to look in a mirror and figure out why. But I've just learned to laugh at it, like you
Yeah.
said. That's
Just
all
brush
you
it
can
off.
do.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm like, or now you make a new piece of content about that and just make it like comical too, right?
I did, and I actually got a pretty good amount of people that commented on it and were like, "This is great. I love this." So
That's so funny.
you never know what's gonna work and what's not.
Yeah. And so like in your business, what would you say is like, I don't know, the most like shocking or unexpected or something that you never expected was going to come up or surprised you within business, like good or bad, so that you were like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be this way, or you're like, I love this, or is it something you don't love, or what would you say to that about getting into business for yourself?
As a whole, it would probably be just truly how difficult it is and how much it's constantly going to push you out of your comfort zone. I knew deep down it would be hard, but I didn't realize that it would truly be probably one of the hardest things that I've ever been through, but at the same time, one of the most rewarding things I could have done in my entire life, by far, as I continue to build this up. So,
Uh, that's a good answer. I love that. And then going forward, like, if you could give a piece of advice like to someone like that's newer in like wanting to start their own business or starting from nothing, what would be like a piece of advice you could give someone that like has this idea of like they want to do something, but they're questioning if they should do it or not?
absolutely. Just start. Honestly, that's what I was told for so long. We just talked about that a minute ago, and it's just do it. Stop thinking about it. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. The longer you wait, the harder it is to do what you want to do. And if you have an idea, if you are truly passionate about something like health and fitness with myself, and I know you're a coach as well, so
Mhm.
just do it. Stop making excuses, get it done.
Love it. And then if you could give like a little bit to like, I don't want you obviously giving away your program and how you coach and everything, but if somebody's like, I don't even know where to start with like fitness, a workout, like, is there something you could say like one tip or something that they could do to just even get started?
YouTube and podcasts. I
Love
have
it.
learned more listening to numerous podcasts, YouTube channels than I ever did in my 4 years of college. It's one of those things where a lot of personal trainers will go in and get their certifications, and it's just like retention overload. They can't remember anything, you don't know how to apply it. And the best way that I learned was just by listening to podcasts, by listening to other people in this space, no matter how big or small they were, and then just applying it. The only way you're going to learn is to just do it. Get your feet wet, put your hands in it, and figure out what's going to and what's not going to work.
Love it. Great answer. Um, I don't know. I think that is like most of the stuff I was going to ask you. Is there anything else that you want to like last like quote or something or anything you want to share that's like a piece of advice or something to like leave off with, I guess you could say.
Yeah, actually, I have a quote that comes to mind pretty often. So, anxiety, the type of population that I work with tends to be like anxious lesbians, anxious people within the LGBTQ space looking to lose weight. And anxiety and fear are something that I had dealt with for a very long time and identified with until I was able to kind of take myself out of that equation and say those I feel statements. My favorite quote ever is fear is an ocean that is a mile wide and only an inch deep. As in, fear, these anxious feelings feel incredibly overpowering, incredibly challenging. But when you really take a step forward, it ends up being this teeny tiny thing that you made a big deal about in your head, and it's really not as big as it you think it's going to be.
Oh,
So,
that's so powerful. I love that. That's a great way to end it. And yeah, I totally forgot. I'm like, we didn't even really discuss like what your coaching
no,
is
it's
or what your
okay.
style is. But yeah, is there anything else you want to share on like your coaching or like if people wanted to reach out to you, like what is your ideal client? Like who's a good person or fit for you to work with, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. So Instagram handle is Ampowered Fit on Instagram, and then I also think TikTok, although I might have to double check that. Basically, I work mostly with professional lesbians, so within the professional work environment, who deal with chronic stress, chronic anxiety, and can't seem to figure out what that missing piece of the puzzle is, and just want to lose weight, want to be comfortable, want to be confident, and want to be their best strong self possible. So.
Amazing. Love it. I can't wait to see where you end up 6 months, a year from now. I'm so excited for your journey. And yeah, I'll put your Instagram handle in the description on the podcast. And then if people want to connect or reach out, then they have that ability to do so.
Yay. Oh my
Awesome.
gosh. Thank you so much,
Thank
Tracy. This has
you.
been
Thanks for your
incredible.
time. Awesome. And if you want, I've said to everyone, if they want to come back as a guest again and chat about more in
Yes.
depth, you are welcome back anytime.
Oh my gosh. I'll come back a million times. I loved this. First podcast I've ever done in
Yes,
my
I
entire
know.
life,
There's
and it's
like,
been
yeah, we ripped the
incredible.
band-aid off.
I know. See? Same with the
Yeah,
quote.
there we go. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy.